Hello guys, welcome back to another session of Carnivore Team GB. I'm not sure what session it is, but if you're watching on Phil's channel, I know for sure there's a number above the screen, and it will tell you what hour we're on. Anyway, today it's just me and Phil. We're here to answer any questions related to carnivory in England, in the UK. Also, if you want to answer asking questions for us and you're in anywhere else in the world, just ask them. Just put a Q before the question so we can easily spot it. Otherwise, welcome and thank you very much for joining. Apologies that the others aren't here today. They've got a manic schedule at the moment, as this is the busy period of time of people that do different things online and also run shops and things like that guy. So anyway, everyone's in good stead and good health. That's the main thing. Anyway, how are you doing, Phil? What's going on?
I'm good, thank you. Just spent the day spamming stuff all over about our Ancestral Health Festival, which is why I put that under my name today. So if anyone's in the UK, come on down, please. Come on down. We're getting all sorts of new people exhibiting and demonstrating and God knows what all the time. And it's a funny old thing. I mean, this is in the UK. We're Team GB here. Get on it. Go and have a look at that link. Because I've now got mini interviews with all the speakers, loads more information of what's going on that's going to be updated all the time. It's funny, isn't it? How easy is it to sell out Spain? We sold out Spain. Oh, thank you, mate. We sold out Spain. We got one room left if anybody wants to go to Spain at £2,200 a room. And this one is much more difficult to sell out. There's enough people there to make it a great event already, but we need more. Come on, guys, come down. This is going to be fun. There's going to be music. There's going to be cold plunges. There's going to be natural movement demos, butchery demos, blacksmithing demos, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be fun. Hang out around the fire pit till late at night with Daz singing, and you can never get him to go to bed. And we'll be playing on the Saturday, and I'm going to organize a whole jam session on the Sunday too. So it's going to be a load of fun. So come down, stay nearby. If you're local, you don't need to stay anywhere, or you can camp. Ancestralhealthfestival.com. Anyway, there we go. Get on down.
Amazing. That's going to be good fun, that is. I believe I'm also attending. I spoke with Mr. Richard Smith earlier about it all. We've also been talking behind the scenes a few weeks back. So yeah, it should be a very, very, very good, entertaining and informative talk. And it, like you said, it lasts a few days as well. So no one has to go for the whole time, and no one has to go for part of the time. You can do whatever you like. The food there will be fantastic, I've been told. I've been told by, I believe it was Richard, said to me on the phone the other day, it's like the best food he's ever had, sort of thing. And that's saying something, because we eat a lot of food.
This will be way better, mate. We've got the local grass-fed farm coming down to do butchery demos. They're cooking stuff. You can cook your own stuff. You buy off them on the fire pits. We got John Gate coming down, great friend of mine, another wonderful grass-fed farmer. Well, he's not grass-fed, obviously, but his cattle are, and his lambs. We might even get people down with a load of animals and whatever for the kids, you know, to go play with, and tons of stuff, kids stuff, all sorts. So yeah, come down.
Great value.
If you're coming down, that's going to be fantastic. Please come down. I didn't know if you wanted to. You're so welcome, mate, and we might even squeeze you in for a bit of a talk if you're up for it. So yeah, then we'll have a full house.
Yeah, if I did come up that long distance, guys, it's about 6 hours away. And it's not an easy 6 hours, and that doesn't include the car journey or taxi journey on either side. So if I did, it would be a talk. I'd make a whole thing of it. I'd be there for probably from Friday afternoon, evening, right until the end of Sunday, probably. So yeah, brilliant. It should be excellent. Yeah, so we have lots of different accents, which should be cool as well. I noticed that someone else was coming. So there was Dr. Sarah Pugh, and who was the other lady?
Oh, that's Nikita Stark. That's Tom. I'm calling him Tom again. I'm getting old. That's my eldest son, and I keep calling Peter Tom. You know, you're getting old when you start calling your kids by each other's names. At least I don't call him Amelia. No, that's Nikita Stark. She's amazing. If anybody has anybody they know who is pregnant, thinking about having a baby, or is an actual human being and was once born, come down and listen to Nikita. She's amazing. She runs When Push Comes to Shove. You know, she blows up all the myths about birth and all the horrendous stories that happen when they're caught in the system and they treat it as an illness. Nikita's fantastic. She's hilarious as well. She's a load of fun. And a great musician, great singer too. So we hope to drag her up on stage for a couple of numbers. But yeah, she's cool. Nikita's great.
She sounds cool. I look forward to meeting her. I think she's the only person I haven't really come across before, so it'll be good.
Well, Rick. You know, if anybody wants to meet her, go to the event page there, ancestralhealthfestival.com, and there's a good chat with Ben and Nikita and me. And you can get a good idea of what she's all about. And I'm going to do a short interview with her on tomorrow. So the little mini interview will be up there soon. But Nikita's marvelous. Love Nikita.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for joining. I appreciate everyone's said hello. If you do have any questions, guys, just let us know. We're about 6 minutes in. We've given you no information at all, apart from advertisement. So if you do have any questions, please just chuck them in, and we'll happily answer them. Otherwise, we'll just have a little discussion between ourselves, Phil. So I wanted to ask this about your carnivore diet journey in terms of like what you've done over the past, say, 8, 9, 10 years, you know, in this sort of area. And what if you could go back in time and say, I'd change this one thing about the first, say, 3 to 6 months of what you did or how you approached it, what would it be?
Ooh.
Or like a key point you learned along the line, or, you know, something like that.
Yeah, well, for me, coming from really crippling rheumatoid psoriatic arthritis or whatever, my biggest tip really is, if you've got anything like that, don't mess about. I messed about a lot, and I've pretty much lost my left knee and my right wrist. You know, I can still play drums, but mountain biking's uncomfortable. Sitting in full lotus and meditating is no longer part of my day. It's unbalanced my pelvis a bit, and it's not really a good situation. I could probably get it back if I did an hour's work on it every day, but I get lazy now. The information's not there. But my biggest tip was straight away: beef, lamb, salt and water with high fat. Don't mess about with anything else. You know, probably by now I could have reintroduced a load of other things, but because I let it go too far, I got in real trouble a couple of winters ago. You can see it on Anthony Chafee's channel. I went on and chatted about it there. But yeah, my biggest thing, when I did a consult with somebody today, and they're saying, well, it's not really that bad. It's not that bad so far. And I'm saying, get in there, nip it in the bud. You know, if you've got all the food addictions and you say, I can never do that, I can never just eat beef and lamb, I tell you, get in my body, experience my left knee for a while, and say that you can't do it. Just do it. I didn't know back then. I didn't know what I was doing, and I got it out of 30 joints, you know, without even going that far. But to really nail it, really heal the gut, there is no substitute. Don't eat processed meat. Don't eat salami. Don't eat eggs. Don't eat chicken. Don't eat dairy. None of that. Just get on that until you are months clear, and you've got symptom-free. You've got yourself symptom-free for literally a few months, and then reintroduce one thing at a time and see how you go. Yeah, you need to be that strict if you've already gone too far. You know, if somebody's got diabetes and whatever, yeah, by all means, eat a load of high-fat dairy and have some low-carb veggies and whatever. It'll get rid of that. But if you're already autoimmune, particularly, you know, my speciality, which is sort of inflammatory arthritis, then please be strict. Be strict. Don't be like me, kids. Don't end up with a bad left knee. Fortunately, I can still play the left-hand kick drum, you know, on my drum kit, and it doesn't interfere with that. But, you know, if I let it go further, I might even have trouble with that. So I'm not having that anymore. So yeah, fatty beef, lamb, salt and water. and it's a third fat to 2/3 lean meat by sight on a plate. Keep that. Eat when you're hungry. Stop when you're full. It's not difficult. No weighing stuff. No calories. None of that crap. Just eat that. It's so simple. So simple. Embarrassing,
I
really,
like that.
to have to throw out 30 years of study in diet when I was completely wrong. You know?
But yeah, throw everything out on like 4 consumables, so the water, salt, beef, and lamb. And that, it's funny, if we look in a field, that's what is there, that will stay there. You know, it's not going to wilt and go away. Like, you know, it's regeneration of livestock, isn't it? And, you know, we can go for the whole talk about how they've got multiple chamber stomachs and all this sort of stuff. But we'll get some questions, guys, because you got some questions. So the first one's very relevant to what we just spoke about, which was regarding the Carnivore conference. So Matthew has asked, I'm highly looking forward to seeing you both at the Carnivore conference. What time does the event start on Saturday the 14th and Sunday the 15th of September? Smiley emoji, muscular emoji.
Matthew, I'm not really sure. That's being organised by Ben. I am just a speaker. I'm just coming along to hang out, which will be really nice for once. I don't have the stress of setting up an event because Ben and I have done 2 of them there at Cliff College. I'm not sure what time the event starts. I would say it's probably about 10 in the morning. I think that's what we did before. Maybe we even started at 9 or half 9, but that's what I remember from the previous ones. I would think it starts around that time, but I'm only guessing because Ben's not here and I can't ask him. But that's what we did before. And looking at the amount of speakers, it's probably about the same kind of time. And looking forward to seeing you too. And get down to our August one as well beforehand. Get to both.
Excellent. Phil's just as well informed as I am, so I couldn't say about anything useful to that one. So you got a question from Paul. Is bone broth made from cooked bones, a roast, for example, as good as from raw bones? Okay,
What do you
so
reckon?
roasted.
I think
it gets cooked either way. It gets cooked either way. You just render out and probably raise the deuterium level if you roasted them.
Maybe, but also when you roast them, then some of the fats drain out and render, right? So you're losing something. So you can make
you'd want that.
And it's you know, it's a hell of a lot better than milk or Coca-Cola, obviously, but you're going to lose something there, I would say, because if you've roasted them, then some of those lovely juices and some of the marrow and all of that sort of thing is going to render down in the bottom of the pan, and you're going to miss some of it. So I always use, actually, God, I've got some in the garage at the moment in the slow cooker, and I've forgotten to top it up with water. I'll have to do that straight after this. But yeah, always raw bones for me.
Yeah, I would have thought the same thing personally, so that's my initial hunch. Go to the next question, which is from, I've got them on the screen now. Sorry, Phil, I need to just press the buttons. There we go. What are your thoughts on reverse dieting for bodybuilding? Muscle Man.
That's yours,
what do you think, Phil? You have a guess. The idea is you have your competition, then rather than just pigging out for a month, you raise the food intake slowly, or how would you approach it? So you're coming out of competition, you're shredded. What would you do from there?
I don't quite get the reverse dieting concept. You're going to have to explain it to me.
So you're in a fragile state after you compete. So you can't, for example, eat 350, 400 grams of protein and the same amount of fat each day. Your body will just gain body fat too quickly. You'll store a lot of fat. Your blood pressure will raise. Your health markers will go downhill. You'd feel like crap because your appetite's that high. But the thing is, you don't, because your appetite is beyond what it will stabilize at. Because you're so lean, your body tries to swing the pendulum back the other way. So he's basically saying, do you control the binging or do you prolong it over a longer period of time and steadily gain weight?
I don't know. I've never competed. The time that I got pretty big, I never got very lean because I was never competing. I just ran a gym and didn't know how to eat. I knew how to train, but I didn't know how to eat. So, Jonathan, that one's all yours, mate. Definitely.
Okay, well, what I'd probably do, Matthew, First of all, I'll take a note and remember to watch the reverse dieting video on my channel. You can find that through searching Brazely. It's reverse dieting is a scam or is a con. But that's obviously a clickbait title just to get clicks. Long story short, I think the idea that we should reverse diet for as long as we actually diet into the contest phase is, I think it's a bad idea. And the reason being, when you're losing body fat to get in shape, you spend an exponential amount of time, say 4 or 5 months for a lot of people, to get into shape. Especially if you want to do it right, do it safely without much hassle to your life, and not be as strict or as quick as I would probably do it. So yeah, it's a less abrasive approach to do it slowly. What proponents of reverse dieting out there will say is that you should try to match the time that you spend dieting with the time you spend after the competition reverse dieting, raising the food intake back up gradually. I think it's a bad idea because, again, you waste another opportunity to spend more time gaining muscle mass because you're not in a well-fed state until your body fat is at the set point it's meant to be to perform optimally in the gym. Now, if you're spending 3 of those, if say your body needs 3 months, then you spend an extra 2 to 3 months reverse dieting to get your body weight set point where you feel strong, perform well in the gym, recovery's good, and your appetite's not off the charts sort of thing. You've just wasted 3 months. I don't think at the same time that you should deliberately try to gain all the weight back immediately. It should be phased in, and that should be determined by the quickest possible weight gain that you can achieve without impact to your life or health markers, blood pressure, resting heart rate, things like that. So if you can, say your health state is at 10, 10 out of 10, say, and say you're trying to gain some body fat very, very slowly just to feel better after competition. If that, say, 10 is going to like an 8 or a 7 or a 6, joints start to get a bit sore, you feel puffy, you're inflamed, digestive issues because you're eating too much food, that's the point you need to slow it down. So the great thing about bodybuilding is there are no rules at all. Sometimes you might gain muscle, but you might be training like a pansy. It could have been a cumulative effect from what you're doing before that point, and now you're allowing your body to recover. So that's my angle on it. It should be done by the quickest possible way that you can while staying healthy. How long that takes, I could not say. As a point of reference, it's very relevant because it is at the moment. I did compete about 1 month and a half, 1.5 months ago, and long story short, I probably actually dieted about 3 months. It's hard to say because I'm looking through my nutrition tracker and the numbers are a bit higher, a bit lower. But I'd say the time that I was actually solidly, dedicated to it was about 3 months. Also deployed my coach around about 7 to 8 week out mark. What I'm doing right now is my body weight is around 96 kilos. I'm around roughly, I didn't weigh on the day of the show, but I'm about 5 kilos heavier than my show day weight. So about 11, 12 pounds, which is not a substantial amount. Most people gain back about 30 to 50 within the first 6 months. I'm not going to be that heavy. I don't think there's a benefit of being that heavy at this point. With my body the way it is, my health status the way it is, in terms of pain, I don't want to gain more weight than I need to. But at the same time, I want my weight to be high enough that I feel good. So I'm still going to the gym. I can sleep relatively well when I can. So I hope that kind of explains it all. There's no rules or guidelines, but the premise is get back to your set point quickly, in a healthy way, and also don't listen to too many other people telling you nonsense online about stuff they don't know about. So that's my 2 cents. We'll go to the next question now because that was a long one. That was a bit dull for a lot of the viewers, but it might help people who are perhaps dealing with binge eating or something like that, or perhaps made a video yesterday about the carnivore priming protocol. Effectively, what you're doing, guys, is you're using a longitudinal leptin reset protocol outside of a bodybuilding show. That's basically it. Right, I'll be quiet. So Christian Gorton said, what about Hashimoto's? What would you recommend to remove? How do you get rid of hashies? Phil?
Well, Hashimoto's is obviously underactive thyroid with some autoimmune component. And I think it's a lot simpler to deal with than Graves' disease, which is overactive thyroid with an autoimmune component. I think there's certain factors in Hashimoto's. There's the leaky gut, obviously, which triggers the autoimmunity aspect of it. And there's also the thyroid getting full of different halides, the ones that it doesn't really want, like bromides and chlorine and that kind of thing. That can be an issue, which can be removed with a sort of salt and iodine protocol and a few other things. If you want an iodine protocol on how to actually get the thyroid to uptake more iodine, send me an email. I've just put one in for in the chat here, my email address, and I'll send you an iodine protocol that can really help with Hashimoto's. And the other thing I think happens with Hashimoto's is oxalates. Oxalates can lodge in the thyroid and cause an issue. So you're going to have to get rid of those too, but that's just a matter of time. I think all of this works far better if you're on a fully carnivore diet, preferably, as I mentioned before, for any autoimmunity, including arthritis and Hashimoto's, which is a high-fat beef, lamb, salt, and water diet. That's going to do it. That's going to, you know, the only diet that gives you zero toxins and all of the nutrition you need. And so the gut's going to heal quicker. That's going to help the autoimmune aspect. That's going to allow the body to dump some of the oxalates. And if you do an iodine protocol on top of that with the correct sort of lead up to it to maybe clear some of the nasty halides out of the thyroid, then that will basically nail it. But I would say really be aware that when you go carnivore, sometimes the thyroid levels, the thyroid panels, if you get a blood test, can go crazy. I don't think it's crazy. I think it's exactly what the body needs to do. But a lot of people have said, oh, carnivore blew up my thyroid. It didn't. What happens is that those levels go crazy. You go to the doc, you get a blood test, and then they say, oh, you've got to get off this diet because it's ruining your thyroid. Well, I've had people say that to me, and then I say, how do you feel? And they go, well, I feel absolutely fine. Well, you know, go by that. And then carry on for sort of 3 months. If you want another blood test, go for it. And at that stage, things will balance out. But these blood tests are a bit ridiculous, really, because, you know, what harm can our ancestral diet do to us? Hashimoto's is very often, you know, a mixture of all those causes and a deficiency in iodine. So Lugol's iodine can really help with that, although they'll tell you, don't take any iodine because it'll kill you or something, particularly with Graves' disease. And, you know, my missus went carnivore and took mega doses of iodine, and it balanced out all her thyroid issues within about a week. All those levels came perfect. So, you know, and why in the old Merck manuals was high doses of iodine a cure for thyroid storm when you were in real trouble and the thyroid had totally blown up, and yet it's somehow dangerous. No, it's all nonsense. I think the best thing you can do to get rid of Hashimoto's is to sack your endocrinologist for a start, because they'll give you a load of misinformation. So ancestral diet, get all the crap out of the thyroid, get some iodine in there, you'll be fine.
I've got a proposition for you, Phil, or maybe a big peering question. Do you think, realistically, this is like a hypothetical, I don't think it'd actually ever happen, but you put basically anyone with a curable disease that we know could be cured through a carnivorous diet, and we literally grabbed them, plonked them with the Maasai for like a month, then just left them as they are, you know, they've got to deal with things themselves. What do you think would happen? Would they you know, put the things into remission or what?
Yeah, you see
they dancing after a week?
Yeah, you see these stories of people going out and living with Amazon tribes and whatever, and all of their ailments heal up. And they go, oh, it was marvelous, and it was this or that, and they focus on one thing. No, it was everything. They had their feet on the ground. They had natural light. They had great community. with no worry about mortgages and stuff like that, all the emotional stuff. They had natural seasonal food that wasn't coming in plastic wrappers and with ingredient lists. All of it adds up. Absolutely, yes. I think it would. I mean, even people, you see them when they go to Antarctica, even when they stay on the crap diet or whatever, if they go there on research expeditions or whatever, and they end up losing a load of their ailments. And I would only put that down to sort of the really low deuterium water in Antarctica. So, you know, any of these factors can help. Yeah. The further we get away from our little blue lit boxes and processed food, things tend to unwind. Totally.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. It's just something that came to mind, and I was watched one of those Mary Ruddock interviews the other day, and I was like, oh, so she's healthy. She does that. Okay, I don't know. I drew some lines together. No, I'm going to leave that question as Phil's answer.
Seen the stuff, you know, the fat of the land or whatever it is that Phil Hellman
Vilmar, yeah.
And he's talking about when people came out on expeditions and when they went onto the native diet that was there, you know, the indigenous diet, all sorts of things healed up. It wasn't just a cure for scurvy, which it is. You don't need limes and lemons and all that sort of thing. They would have all sorts of things heal up and feel the best they can, and then they would come back when they go back to the West. All these ailments. Yeah.
There's one major missing piece of literature we absolutely do need, and that's the meal combining. So mixing, you know, the beans with the spinach with the beef, then have different arms to the study of different fruits, different vegetables, you know, different combinations. I know they did that for one thing, which was the tortilla with the zinc concentration in, you know, in the wrap where it was. But that's one study. I don't think it's enough. I think they should probably do more of it. So I think it'd reveal a lot more in terms of, like, we know about the vitamin C, the scurvy thing. Like, we've kind of found the explorers that were cheating on the diet and eating, I say cheating, is in they're eating more Western foods, they're eating biscuits and bread or cakes or pastry, whatever it was, dough, I don't know. They're the ones that actually did get scurvy, not the ones who actually ate less food. So it's like, well, if all these things are giving you vitamin C, how much vitamin C do you need per gram or whatever fruit and vegetable in order to stave that off? So I went on to ChatGPT yesterday, tried to find it out. There's no studies on it. But what I'm saying is, how many milligrams of vitamin C is required to have that antioxidant or potential mitigation effect of the starch, sugar, the glycation that will eventually happen? That's what I want to know. I would guess between 15 and 30 milligrams.
Yeah, again, it totally depends on how many carbohydrates you're eating, because nature knows best, doesn't it? If you're just eating meat, you get enough vitamin C. But if nature's giving you a load of sugar in berries or whatever, then it ups the vitamin C content. Just nature knows best. It's just, you know, they'll do endless studies on it. They won't come up with anything because they'll have people on all sorts of different diets, won't they? So
I don't know. There's some people in this space that could do a lot better, I think, in terms of promoting the carnivore diet, running studies.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh, never mind.
Lambs has asked about my
wine.
Phil was drinking wine on Carnivore, reversing his arthritis. How does he look back to that, and does he still do it? Okay, when I was reversing my arthritis, I wasn't drinking any wine. You don't do that. My view on alcohol is this: it's unnecessary. It's a poison, but if you eat carnivore, you can deal with those poisons far better. When I was completely teetotal for 30 odd years, between about, 20 and 50, or maybe even more, I'd drink maybe once a year and I couldn't take it. I'd just go bright red, start itching, feel really sick. And if I had a blood test, they used to ask me if I was an alcoholic. And then I ended up with fatty liver, cysts on the liver, all kinds. And then when I went almost carnivore and did a load of liver flushing, which is another bit of woo-woo. Then I went back and I had no fatty liver and I had no cysts on the liver that they thought was impossible. And then I thought, well, I've got no inflammation anymore. Why don't I try a bit of alcohol? Because I've really done none of it all my life. So I got kind of into it, and it was kind of fun. you know, and it didn't seem to do anything. I don't, it's not ideal. I'm not promoting it, but, you know, I'm an old hippie who likes, you know, a load of ingestion of drugs and whatever. You know, in the old days, it was always the hallucinogenics. I wasn't interested in alcohol at all. But now I think, you know, there was a study on rats where they gave one set of rats seed oils as part of their diet, another set the sort of fruit oils or something, and another set just tallow. And the experiment was to find out how much alcohol they could give them before they blew the liver up. And the ones on the seed oils, you know, they blew the liver up pretty quick, a bit slower on the fruit oils, and they couldn't give the rats enough alcohol to blow their liver up on when they were based on tallow. And I think it's kind of the same thing, because now I've drunk more than I ever have done in my life, which isn't saying much because I don't drink much, but my liver results are absolutely perfect. But if I had inflammation, I won't drink, you know, because I think it still keeps the gut leaky. I asked Sophia about this a little while ago, and she'd mentioned that wine's not good, but there is one, and beer is obviously awful. It's just liquid bread. But if you do drink, once you're healed, you should have this particular, you know, Hungarian spirit or whatever. And I asked her the last time I saw her.
Yeah, I know what that is actually. I think one of my my friend's clients and members on here actually has it. He has it as like a shot, like some sort of liqueur, something. I'll ask him. It might be that, and if I can obviously get all the information from him. But yeah, it's quite interesting.
Cool. Well, I mean, I asked Sophia when we were at PHC, Jonathan. You know, we were all there, and I asked Sophia about that, and she said, I said, because I drink brandy now and again. I don't think wine's so good. And she went, well, what's brandy made of? And I said, grapes. And she said, well, reluctantly, well, that's probably not so bad. But look, here's the thing about alcohol. Maybe I experiment with it now and again. It's not ideal. I'm just honest. And I say that I do because it's kind of fun sometimes. But it's a very, if you know, as drugs go, it's a very low consciousness drug. It's an elite type of drug to dampen down your awareness. And it's no good. And I mean, look at the amount of deaths of from alcohol every year, and the amount of deaths, say, from marijuana that is legal. None. So, you know, you can see what they're doing there. It's no good. If you want to drink it now and again, it's your own thing. That's it. But I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
But I'm just honest about it. And it's the only mistake I make. And that's it. And I think that if I hadn't drunk anything, my gut would probably be completely healed and less leaky. Whereas I have to have just fatty beef and lamb. And maybe I got into trouble eating pork, chicken, dairy, and eggs a couple of years ago. Whereas I might not have done on that after so long carnivore if I hadn't drunk the brandy. I don't know. But if you're healing up, don't have it. And if you've already healed up, do it at your own risk. Because if it doesn't blow up your liver on carnivore, it will still pull out certain B vitamins, particularly thiamine, and it's not good. That's it.
Yeah, it is interesting, this leaky gut stuff. I mean, for the last maybe 2 weeks roughly, I've been having a lot of bone broth, but from like a powder. I'm affiliated with a company that makes it, Boiling Broth in the UK. Really good quality products. Yes, I do get a discount, but I do promote them because they're good. But what I'm trying to say is, I've been doing it for about 2 weeks at like a lot, like 30 grams a day, like, you know, quite a substantial amount, more than what most people probably have. My skin is healing up more. My guts do feel better. Like I had a bit of an issue around, I'd say, the few weeks before and a few weeks after my bodybuilding competition. A lot of people, their immune system goes downhill a bit. You know, you pick up stomach bugs easily. But I've been using that for a few weeks now. I'm like, okay, literally like about 3 or 4 days in of using like a load of it, it's really helped my guts. But the mystery is, I already have a very, very, very high protein diet. What does this extra protein do? So I think there's something to do with the matrix of foods themselves, which have that, you know, benefit. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know, mate. It's something that needs to be looked into and discussed. I don't know. So many unknowns in this, eh? Yeah.
I hear so many weird anecdotes sometimes, and I'm like, okay, does that work? Yeah, but it's not meant to work. I'm like, okay. Okay, but yeah, we had a question here about marijuana, so I thought we'd answer this one. Just because it's related to the alcohol thing. What's your opinion? Marijuana with psoriatic arthritis. Do you know if it can cause a flare? It depends probably how it's consumed. I'd guess would be the first thing.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's a very healing substance. That's why it's banned, obviously. And if you get the Rick Simpson oil, that sort of very concentrated oil, it can be quite healing. But the trouble is, you end up very mashed, and that can be a bit of a downside or an upside, depending on how you look at it. But if you're healing up, people take these massive quantities of the Rick Simpson oil, and they say they fix their cancer. And maybe they have, but most people who do that don't. They just end up mashed all day. I don't think it does so much harm. I think it's okay. Some people who are prone to sort of psychotic episodes maybe should avoid the stuff. If you smoke it, I've got controversial issues on smoking that I don't think it. I think it's unnecessary and smelly and expensive, but I don't think it does what it says on the tin. On the government tin anyway. I don't think it causes cancer, to be honest. Smoking marijuana, I don't know. It's just, it puts you in a state where the opiate receptors or whatever, the endocannabinoid receptors are sort of satisfied, and you get this nice little chilled out feeling if you're not naturally psychotic, and it takes pain down. But it's just a cherry on the cake. It really is. And if people say they've healed on it, there's 1,000 more that haven't. I think the biggest danger of marijuana with psoriatic arthritis is that if you get the munchies, and then you are really tempted to eat the wrong thing, and you'll just eat anything, and so that in itself is probably the biggest danger of causing a flare, when you end up sending a taxi out to the garage at 2 o'clock in the morning to get a load of Monster Munch and crisps and whatever. So don't do that. I wouldn't bother with it, to be honest. If you want to take it, that's fine. It's a recreational thing for me. I don't really do it anymore. Very, very rarely. If I'm at a festival or something and I've just played a gig and everybody's smoking ganja around the fire, I might have a couple of puffs and that's it. I have a very, very low tolerance to it these days. And in the face of changing your diet to a carnivore diet, it's not going to do much. But I'll go over to Jonathan on that one, because it can be useful for pain management and whatever. What do you reckon, Jonathan?
I think you shouldn't do things that your governing law, wherever you are, doesn't let you do. So I think you should follow the law carefully.
Oh, well, absolutely, of course, yeah.
That should be the first thing at the forefront of your mind.
I'd say observe the food pyramid while you're at it. So there's a disclaimer. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I think like Phil said, it's useful for pain. I don't think it's necessarily gonna be the nail on the head that sorts any disease out. I don't think it will. Managing symptoms of a disease, maybe that's useful. Maybe if you sleep better, maybe if you have less pain, maybe if you socialize a bit better, maybe that allows your surroundings to change. Maybe your recovery from a long day's work or something is a bit easier to manage. Maybe it keeps you in a better mental state. They prescribe this sort of thing in the UK for anxiety and depression even. So maybe that works alongside other drugs you might be using, medications, or maybe it can be as an adjunct or a alternative. So it means it could mitigate liver damage if you're not taking codeine but you are taking that. Pros and cons to everything. I'd say, I do obviously use it. I'm prescribed it medically, and that's what was just there. I find the vape works fine. I have oil as well that I can consume, and I've got pastils which I can consume as well. So I've got discrete ways of using it if I do need to use it. I'm not allowed to drive anyway, so I don't drive, so it's not a problem. I'm not going to harm anyone else doing it the way I'm doing it. I just think there's a lot of roadblocks before some would have to end up using it for the purposes that many people do. So I think you should exhaust every other alternative. as long as it's reasonable for you and makes sense. Wink, wink. But beyond that, I wouldn't be able to tell someone to just use it just because their knees are sore one day from working in a builder's yard. I think at that point it becomes something you end up using more and more and more. These things are addictive. They are used often as a bit of a crutch rather than something to be used as an adjunct towards feeling better overall. I think long term, expensive as well. Maybe better off spending that sort of money on more massages or something. I don't know. What individually helps one person from the next is so different. So yeah.
I think one quick thing that I'm not a fan of CBD oil. I think
Oh no, I've never found it useful. I've used half
it's
bottles of it.
overpriced. Yeah, it's
Nothing.
overpriced and whatever. It's actually cheaper to go to your local dodgy guy down the road who's made the proper Rick Simpson oil. CBD oil has the THC taken out, and so you don't get stoned on it. But I don't think it's anywhere near so effective. The only downside of the Rick Simpson oil is that once you've done that, it becomes a Class A drug, which is absolutely insane. With in England a maximum penalty of 7 years in prison. And when I was giving it to my mum when she had breast cancer, I thought, good God, I'm actually risking 7 years in prison for this with something that's at best healing and at worst harmless. It's insane, the law. So be careful of the law with it because, you can get into trouble. But the CBD, I'd say don't waste your money.
I used to sell thousands upon thousands of pounds of the stuff. I worked at 2 different health food shops. One of them was vegan. And what I noticed were people were buying these things, but they weren't getting a lot out of it. Not many return customers. Even the people that would have a lot of money and typically, load up their basket, they weren't buying it. You had people that were opportunists who thought, "Oh, this is a new thing. I've read it in a magazine. It's good. It's good for sleep and inflammation." It doesn't do anything for sleep. It does zero for sleep. Nothing. Absolutely zero. Zilch. And people say to me, "Oh, but anecdotally, yeah, if you buy a sugar pill, it's a placebo. It's going to do something." The mechanisms of action don't support the idea that it's in any way helpful for sleep, outside of potentially having some small biological effect on inflammatory markers. But outside of that, the research I've read, with the people that I spoke to, the representatives of these companies even said themselves, to be honest, it's a bit of a shot in the dark, and people buy it, and it's popular, so we sell it. But so it just kind of shows even the people that are selling it don't really believe in it. Phil, question: body composition. How do you raise your metabolic rate? Your rate of metabolic processes.
No, I've waffled on long enough. That's your ballpark, really, Jonathan. I'm gonna leave that one to you. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I'd first need to look at someone's activity levels and how much they are eating. If someone was very active, male, heavy, big, muscular, and they're saying to me, I'm eating 100 grams of protein a day and 100 grams of fat, that's not much food for pretty much any adult of any size, I'd imagine. It's what a competitor may diet down to, like a bodybuilding physique competitor. If they're females, very small and lightly muscled and don't train much. So basically the idea is, first of all, do you need to increase your metabolic rate? Like, what is the purpose of it? That'd be my first question as a composition coach, consultant sort of thing. I have to make sure that the goal is reasonable and there's a reason for it. So, for example, some people out there like to eat 2 kilos of meat because it's 2 kilos of meat, it's a round number, but they get fat when they do it. So I'll go through stages of 2 kilos of meat, 1.5 kilo meat. I know lots of people like that. They're usually young men between the age of 20 and 30. They like binge eating and they like to have this sort of like big round number to sort of show off and say they're as big and strong as Sean Baker, but they're not. But that's not a reasonable purpose. A reasonable purpose would be you're feeling tired, fatigued, everything you eat just doesn't digest efficiently and quickly. And your sleep's just awful and you're not going to bed at the right times. Your leptin signaling's all over the place. Your circadian profile is messed up to high heaven. It's obvious your body's not feeling good. You feel depressed. Your skin's dry, perhaps. Your body's not got that turnover of ATP in order to do the process that it needs to do to feel good. And that'd be a perfect situation to do a leptin reset. So you can look at the book by Dr. Jack Kruse, Epipaleo RX. I bought it myself. Otherwise, you can find information about it free on Google or Chat GPT it. I did it earlier today, actually, just out of curiosity to see what it say. Basically, it's a high protein and high fat breakfast, ideally within about an hour of waking. During that time, you're also outside looking towards the sun. Even on bad days, it's something you do every day routinely within 20, 30 minutes of waking up. The sooner the better. So the idea is you're programming the lens of your eye, the cornea, to work out, okay, it's sunlight outside, this time of day, this spectrum of light, this is what my body needs to do. These are hormones that my body needs to signal forward. So leptin resistance is where basically the body isn't dealing with the leptin properly. It's going in, but there's some sort of sensitivity issue, some sort of conductivity issue, you might say, in very untechnical terms. So that's what I'd look at first. So you're trying to basically gradually increase your metabolic rate, but what I'd be doing with the diet would be to add maybe 10 grams of fat or 10 grams of protein or both each week, up to a point until your body fat starts to go up. Now, it might be that you're trying to gain body fat, in which case, obviously, keep adding it. At least go to the point where that food starts to not taste very good. Then you hang around there for a while, you try and maintain it, try and track it, just because it's a more measured approach, in my opinion. Then when you're doing that for a long time, you're not getting body fat. Okay, there we go. You've not gained body fat, and you've increased your basal metabolic rate. So that's what I'd look at first. But other things, get good sleep quality, blue blocking glasses, all the grounding stuff, that would all help. I think you can't neglect the sleep side of it. And there's been studies where people have actually compared physique competitors that would they would sleep an extra hour in the morning. So they go to sleep until 6 in the morning. Then the other group would go to sleep until 5 in the morning, but do an hour of cardio. At the end of it all, the body composition outcomes are better for people that just slept more. The people that slept the right amount that they're meant to sleep. So you can't neglect sleep, you can't neglect diet, you can't neglect having a sensible plan, a measured plan, and you can't neglect also making sure your goals are appropriate for what you're trying to achieve and they're relative to you. So for me, increasing my basal metabolic rate to 6,500 calories, if you could measure it through food intake labels, food labels, then it's not something I'd want to do. It's too expensive. It wouldn't be a reasonable goal. But if I was, say, eating 2,000, but I want to get to 2,500, okay, that's a reasonable task because I'm a big person. I need more than 2,000 damn calories. So, yeah. Anyway, I know the calorie thing doesn't make sense, but I'm using that as just single numbers. So I have to say 200 grams of protein, 200 grams of fat, 250 grams of protein, you know. There we go. Are you happy with the answer, Phil?
Delighted.
Oh, thank God for that, because I'm the only one that's going to answer it. There we go. Your question from Laurie Gosnell. This is probably a good one for you, maybe. Can cancer patients drink hydrogen water? They can drink anything they want, but I'm guessing, is there much purpose to it? Is it beneficial, is the question.
I think the only thing that's really going to be beneficial to a cancer patient, as far as water goes, is deuterium depleted water. So, you know, hydrogen water, I'm not really sure if it does that much, but yeah, deuterium depleted water if you want. If you're eating a really high fat carnivore diet, it's going to be low deuterium anyway. But if you've got a bit of money and you've got advanced pancreatic cancer, then go and grab some deuterium depleted water as well. It's expensive, but it's really worth putting that in your toolbox, I would say. For everybody else, I don't think it's necessary. Just, you know, drink some remineralized distilled water, or, you know, get some glass bottled spring water and you're fine. I think people overcomplicate water so much. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about hydrogen water, Jonathan?
I think no matter what you do, you're damned, because someone will just tell you that you're drinking the wrong water. Oh, it's in a bottle, it's in the wrong shaped glass. And that is literally a thing. If the glass is a wrong shape, it's not structured the correct way, then it's a bad thing, apparently. It's touched the wrong chemicals. It's come from the wrong spring. the wrong shop sold it because it's not ethical. Whatever it is, I don't know. I don't know enough about water to really make even a speculation, to be honest. I would look elsewhere for an answer, if I'm honest. Either take Phil's answer or look elsewhere. I'm sorry I can't help you more. I'm not in a position where I can really feel responsible for giving the wrong advice in that one, because it is such a meaningful and personal thing. But I hope whoever it is that what you're speaking about is hopefully well, and lives the best life and has the best health span possible. Anyway, I think we're going to leave it there, guys. We're going to wrap it up now because we've got no more questions and it's getting very late at night. So, Phil, do you have any last comments or words before we hit the bell?
No, not really. Just please, I tell you what, everybody here, go and check out ancestralhealthfestival.com. It's a great landing page. Lots of info on there, and anybody in the UK who goes and looks through that whole page, watches all the little interviews and sees what's going on, I don't know how you can't resist coming along. So tons of amazing info, loads of great people to meet and hang out with. Won't be a huge festival, so you'll get their attention, and they're all lovely and really open and friendly. And lots of music as well, and all sorts of other stuff. So get along there, sit around the fire, and let's get to know each other. Best thing about these live things is making these connections. You know, people are making friends for life there, and it's great. So yeah, check out the landing page and see what you think, and come and see us.
Nice. Yeah, the value of human connection is certainly very important. Having met Phil, Ben a couple of times, Richard, whoever else there is. Am I missing someone? I haven't met Lee yet. I haven't met these guys in person. You know, it's just nice to be around other humans, and you have a sense of calm when you're around them, because although we might be fans of each other, sort of thing, we sort of work together and enjoy each other's company and stuff like that. When you actually meet each other, there's a sense of calm which you don't get with many people nowadays. Oftentimes you sort of think, oh, I've got this opinion about someone, but you know someone well enough, you're just pretty chill around them. And it's as an autistic individual, I do feel very at home and at ease with these gentlemen. So I just wanted to mention that as an appreciative word of wisdom. All right, cheers, guys. Take care.
All right.